Ashford and Anne. How are we, ladies?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. Khiyla, always great to talk to another fellow Torontonian. I'm
Yes.
curious, you love sports. I saw, volleyball season is kind of a big part of your life. Do you suffer with the other Torontonians in terms of cheering on, our city's teams?
I don't watch too much hockey, but when I was in Vancouver, the Canucks were pretty.
It was crazy. It was crazy on set. People were like screaming on the streets. It was wild.
Parades going everywhere.
People were fighting on set. They weren't, but sort of.
Well, Annaleigh, I wanted to ask you first, being a part of shows like this and American Crime Story as well, two different iterations of this kind of true crime, take. A show like that has kind of a tongue-in-cheek sensationalism about it. So I'm curious, when you're dealing with these shows, what kind of balance as a performer do you look for, in terms of both the entertainment aspect and being respectful to the real life crimes that occurred?
It's a great question. Every project that you work on has a different objective in the storytelling. There's, obviously the writers are different, the producers are different, the projects are different. What was really special and unique about this particular project is that not only is it from the perspective of a female, but it's also from the perspective of the family member of a perpetrator of a heinous crime. And that isn't something we've really seen before. There's also a lot of violence, but we don't see any violence. And I thought that was also really unique. And most of all, what was, I thought, the most compelling about this story was we are watching somebody who can never right the wrong that has been committed, but Melissa Moore in real life has used her experience in the true crime space as a way to help people and give support to people who've been touched by the trauma of crime. So to me, that is a story that will just keep on telling itself, and also help viewers kind of maybe examine how they consume true crime.
Well, perfect segue, because Khiyla, I was going to ask you, shows like Happy Face and the podcast, obviously that preceded it, become a very popular genre of late. So were you a fan of true crime podcasts or Netflix shows or Paramount Plus shows at all? And had you heard of this specific story before you took on the role?
Yeah, I was definitely a fan of true crime. I watched documentaries and a lot of Netflix shows for sure. I wasn't familiar with this Melissa story before the project, but during the auditioning process, I listened to the whole podcast to help me prepare, but yeah.
And she wants to be a forensic psychologist, so
yeah,
she's
fitting.
interested in the world.
Yeah.
Among many things. She's going to be an actress. I'm telling her that she's to keep back. But
You're going to be an actress too.
I keep trying.
I love that, because I was going to ask Khiyla if you didn't know that your wonderful co-star and on-screen mom was also a bit of a wunderkind and had a degree in theater by the time she was 19. So I'm curious, did you learn anything from her, obviously, about surviving this business and the hectic pace? And again, I'd love to talk about being a female in this business as well.
Yeah, I think what I learned most about Annaleigh is just the way that she carries herself. She's so kind and wonderful and warm to everybody, and like she's been saying, she really wanted to create a really light and happy workplace because of our heavy subject matter, and I think she really succeeded in that, especially building relationships with her and our castmates and our crew, who is seriously one of the best crews I've ever worked with. They're so wonderful. So I think that, and just how personable and sweet and perfect and amazing
Oh,
she is.
sweet Khiyla, my sweet girl. No, I'm just so happy that I got to play her mama. We had a great time together. I was actually pregnant with my little girl, so I got to practice being a mama to a big girl while I was just becoming a mama to a little girl.
Well, between the two of you, with the musical talent and acumen that you both possess, were there any little karaoke breaks in between shoots at any time?
We should have had a karaoke break. I found out that Khiyla's really good at like pop and locking, so we should have just done some pop and locking together. That's what we're doing on season 2.
Yeah.
Season 2
Okay.
we'll have some really fun. I don't know if it makes sense in our story for us to pop and lock and do karaoke, but we'll find a way.
Tune in, and you'll see.
I love it. I love it. Well, Annaleigh, I couldn't help but compare, this role a little bit to your recent stint as Mrs. Lovett
I
because,
know.
yeah, the juxtaposition is really interesting because you're essentially playing characters that have deep feelings for a serial killer. So, what did you like about both of these roles in terms of that emotional conflict?
Well, Mrs. Lovett is one of the greatest roles that was ever written for the American Musical Theater, so it was just an honor to get to play that role, especially in the way that we got to do it with the company that I did and the creative team. But really, that character, she does all of the horrific things that she does in the name of love. And that's the way I always viewed that character. And I would say that Melissa does all of the good things that she does in the name of love. This is a man that she loved before he became a monster. And she carries around the guilt and the shame and the remorse for his actions. And in the reckoning of who she is and who she was, she has to admit to the world that he is her father, and that's how she moves forward in life. She has to prove to herself that being his daughter doesn't define her, and I think that she has done that in real life. And so, yes, while I have done back-to-back pieces that have involved serial killers, they have been very, very different characters.
Well, I want to ask both of you, and Khiyla, I find it so funny that at age 16, correct me if I'm wrong, you're already talking about the crew was one of the best crews you've ever worked
Me
with. Being a
too.
seasoned, oh, that's great. Well, it's just funny being a 16-year-old, being a seasoned veteran already. But the other thing is that, Annaleigh, I just recently saw Late Night for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, hadn't
So
seen
fun.
that movie before, and I love your character because of what she stands up for. And I also enjoyed it. Kind of introduces the fact that some entertainment platforms can be seen as "quote unquote" lesser in some people's eyes. So, Khiyla, let's start with you, but I want both of your opinions. What do you think about a show like Happy Face and this recent trend of tremendous streaming shows that have become just massive and cinematic and attract amazing talent? The television game has really grown. Have you kind of witnessed that, in your veteran career already?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I do not know how to answer
I'll
that. I
help
think
you.
you should go
But
first.
you do know how to answer because you are also a watcher of television. We
Yeah.
all are. And also, I would say since Khiyla, since she was about 10, the world of TV has changed dramatically. And by that I mean there's a lot more of it. There are a lot more places to get it. There's so much that sometimes we don't even know how or where to find it. But what I think is really interesting that's happening right now in Hollywood, and all over the world, is that we are now realizing that we watch TV and film in a lot of different ways and on different screens, and the way we consume it has changed. So we've gone from wanting stories either in 3 hours or every week for an hour to, oh, I want to watch a movie for 8 hours. And that's really, I think, what we're seeing happen right now. And it's exciting, and it's also just a reminder that this is art, and art changes. I like think about every great art movement. I did a show called Sunday in the Park with George, written by the great Stephen Sondheim, and it's about George Seurat. And people thought he was crazy, and that was at a time when the art world was exploding and everything was different. And while this is maybe this is a different art form, this is a time in which I would say this is like a renaissance moment in the history of television. So kind of just we can't continue at this pace. I kind of wonder where it balances out and lands. But as a viewer and as a creator, I've been totally thrilled and excited by what's happening. And this show specifically it's gorgeous. The DP did a fantastic job. all of our directors did a beautiful job, all of our DPs, and then Michael Showalter, our director, who set the tone, I think really set us up for a fantastic series ahead that is both thoughtful and also beautiful.
Well put. Well, what else can you say after that? But ladies, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck with season 1, and fingers crossed for season 2.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Hey Real students, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe to Real School, click that round Real School logo right beside me. Also click that damn notification bell so you're aware of all of Real School's new content. You can follow me on Twitter, and of course, if you get anything out of Real School, you can always give a little back. Just click the link in the description below or the button down there, and you can become part of my Patreon team.